All right, bet. If you can see me clearly and hear me clearly, drop a 777 in the chat if you can hear me clearly and see me clearly. Big Money Ed, I'm coming at you. My lovely co-host, help me out with the waiting room because I ain't gonna be able to see it. You know, so I'm feeling good. I'm excited, guys. Welcome to the call, as you guys know. And if you didn't know, now you do know we do have Skills Camp starting tomorrow. All right. I believe that this is going to be one of the most impactful experiences virtually from a skill set standpoint. You know, the practical, the know-hows on how to build your business and things of that sort. But real quick, man, it was a word that kept floating around as people were doing shout outs, man. And that word was events. That word was showing the plan. And that's what you should be doing right now. So here's my challenge, right? Here's my challenge for everybody. When we first started this business, one thing that Chad had us commit to was 300 presentations, right? Which is a lot, 300 presentations. But here's what I want you to commit to. I want you to commit to 100 presentations. If you're a player on this line, I want you to commit to 100 presentations. If you can do that, if you can commit to that, I want you to drop 100 in the chat. If you can commit to buy, we'll give it 3 to 4 months, 5 months. It don't even matter how long it take you. But can you just make that commitment to doing 100 presentations? Because see, it's not so much about the 100 presentations. You know what it's really about? It's really about the growth in the presentations. It's really about the reps, right? So can you commit to just doing 100, right? Because remember, when we was building, Chairman 5 months, Geo went P2, like running, it was 300 presentations. That's what we were doing. But I'm just saying, just do 100. Just do 100. Can you commit to that? It's over 100 days left in the year. So can you knock out 100 presentations, 100 times showing the plan? Events, Zooms, webinars, one-on-ones, sit-downs. Can you commit to that? Because remember, it's not about the goal, it's about the growth. See, so many people focus up on the goal, but they never focus on the growth that it takes to attain the goal, because a goal is not something that you get. You actually grow into a person that's worthy enough of having the goal. And one of the questions that I ask people often is, are you worthy of your goal? Are you deserving of your goal? See, people like Steph Curry, man, worthy of his goals. Every record that he has, he deserves it because he put the work in for it. Like I was watching this video, 100 shots. Who makes 100 jumpers straight? Who does that? Who just gets that and just does that like that? 100 of them, back to back, 100. A person that cares about the skills, a person that cares about the progression, not perfection, but the progression. Because if I can just make time, if I can just make my goals important, that means the growth that it takes will become important. And I'll be willing to just get the ball and just shoot. So you tired of looking at me already, but this is what Steph Curry was doing every single day. This is what he does every single day. You tired just looking at me, but this is what he does every single day. Muscle memory, putting the reps up. So if he can put up hundreds of shots a day, can't you just muster up enough courage, muster up enough confidence to show the plan 100 times? Drop 100 in the chat again if you're committing to that. If you're gonna be a person that's gonna do those 100 presentations, and you should start tracking that in your planner from today. Every time you show the plan, you should put an X or something to signify that this is one of my 100 that I'm gonna commit to. Because I know if I show 100 presentations, if I show the plan 100 times, and I got guests, I got people on the other side of this presentation, I'm gonna enroll people. I'm enrolled minimum 10. Like if I don't get nothing, I know I'm enrolled 10. Just law of numbers. But it's gonna take you having that commitment to just doing 100 presentations. And if you're a leader on the line, you're somebody that's really serious about going to the next level, you're not gonna stop at 100. You're gonna do as many as you can. Hey Siri, how in 2021?
It's 284 days.
It's 284 days left. I just said 100. Can you commit to just 100? Putting the shots, the reps. Steph, 100 made straight. How did he make 100 straight? Because he was shooting 400 to 500 a day. Because the reps is what matter when you're trying to become a professional. But you know what, people? What I've came to understand through me playing sports, why somebody won't do that. JVL, I've learned why people don't do what they know they're supposed to do. And if they just did what they knew they were supposed to do, then they will get the results that they really think they're supposed to have. But because they don't do what they're supposed to do, that result never shows up. See, if you consistently do what successful people do, at some point you're going to get the result that they have. So if Steph Curry could shoot 300, 400, 500 jump shots every single day to get to a point where he can make 105 jump shots in a row straight, if he can dedicate time to do that, why can't you just show the plan every single day? It's 284 days left in the year. I just said do 100. What would your business look like if you just did 100? But see, the reason here, let me not forget, the reason why people don't do that, JVL, is because they really haven't fallen in love with the game yet. See, the only reason Steph Curry can do that is because he fell in love with the game. The only reason why you see successful people, whether it's, Beyonce, one of the greatest performers of all time, fell in love with the game, like the process, everything that goes into those performances. She only performs for 2 hours, but she puts in hours upon hours of practice, of rehearsing to get that production, for it to look the way that it looks. So at the end of the day, what matters the most is you committing to the process, but it'll be hard to commit to the process or commit to something that you don't love. Very hard to do that. How can I commit to something that I don't really love? How could I commit to something that I'm really not interested in? How could I commit to something that I really don't care about? How could I commit to something that I'm just trying to fit in? See, you just can't fit this business in. Don't work like that. You can't fit in being a millionaire. You can't try to fit in being a chairman. That you just can't fit that kind of stuff in. See, you make that a priority. You make it important, and everything just finds a way to build around that. But again, if I haven't fallen in love with the game, the process of getting better, then I won't see things that way. Here's what you got to understand. Every person that you see that's successful in this business, in life, they weren't born that way. I need you to really understand that. Yeah, people were born with certain talents and certain skill sets. Like, again, all you guys know, I played sports my whole entire life. So I've saw athletes that had greater talent than me. They were faster than me. They could jump higher than me. But for some reason, they didn't go as far as I went, right? And you can just imagine, for every great athlete that you have on the court or on the field doing something exquisite, for every chairman that you have being celebrated, there was another person that should have been chairman, but they quit. There was another person that should have went to the NBA, but they quit. There was another person that could have been like a LeBron James, but he couldn't make it out of his own neighborhood. He couldn't get away from his own environment. There's somebody, again, who's been in this business that couldn't just focus up long enough for chairman to show up, because they didn't fall in love with the game. And see, here's what I love about this game that we're playing. The game is not against anybody else. The game is always against you. See, the game isn't against another team. The game isn't against another company. The game isn't against another organization. The game is only against you. It's only against you. So you have to be able to win the war in your mind. If you can win the war in your mind, then there's nothing that can stop you from making millions of dollars or doing whatever it is that you want to do. Nothing can stop you if you can just win the war here, because the battle is always here. The battle is never with anybody else. Who are you competing against? Nobody. We don't compete. We create. We recognize what other people are doing. Say, okay, how can I add this into my life? Let me celebrate them, clap for them, be really inspired by them, happy for them. But how can I take a piece of what they're doing and add it to my game? Because it's not me versus them. It's just me versus me. See, if you listen to one of the greats like Michael Jordan, yeah, he was playing against the team, but the competition was really against himself. How can I get better from the previous game? When I turn on the film and look at my plays, how can I make myself better? right? So when you're showing the plan, how do I get better? How do I progress? Because if I can get better, then my result, my goal automatically has to show up. But see, a lot of times people fall in love with the scoreboard and they don't fall in love with the game. People fall in love with the result and the goal, and they don't fall in love with the game. Nothing wrong with falling in love with your goals. But see, goals don't ensure your future. Your growth is what ensures your future. See, if I focus on growth every single day, then it's a byproduct that I'm going to get my goal. You ever thought about that? See, if you just focus on getting better every single day, focus on progressing every single day, moving the chains every single day like we talked about, then by default, the goal will automatically get hit. But I won't do that if I haven't found a love, a passion, a purpose in the game that I'm playing. Because remember, a superstar, a great, a leader, somebody that defies the odds, that person isn't just born with all of that gifting and talent. Yeah, they're born with some of it, but here's what you got to understand. The great ones, they're the ones that get trained. They're the ones that get educated. They're the one that actually get developed. Because remember, God gives us the gift. He deposits the gifts inside of us, but it's on us to develop what he deposited. And if we don't develop what he deposited, then our gift can never be unwrapped to the world. So we got to take what's been given to us and actually develop it. We got to work the skill. We got to show the plane 100 times. Plus, that's the minimum. That's the minimum. Work my skill, the craft, events. Throw my first event. I got to get better because I'm not the chairman. They're not just born chairman. They're things that they had to do in the process to actually become a chairman. And I was reading this book, and in this book, there was this gentleman, he was talking about how he really believed that anybody can be mentally programmed to do anything. And he believed this concept so much. I need you to pay attention. He believed this concept so much that he said he's going to try it on his own kids. So he takes all of his kids, right, and begins to have this study with them. And the study was, how successful at the game of chess can I make my daughters? They've never played chess before. They're kids. Like, how successful can I make them at the game of chess if I program them to only think about chess? I'm not a professional chess player, but I want my kids to go as far as they can in chess. I've never done it before, but I'm going to program their mind to only think about the game of chess, because he really believed that the greats weren't just born that way, but that they could be educated and trained on how to be great. It just takes a programming of the mind. So he has 3 daughters. He has a daughter named Susan, has a daughter named Sophia, and he has a daughter named Judith, right? Susan was the oldest one. At the age of 4, with only 6 months of practice, Susan began to beat adults at chess. Then he had Sophia. Sophia was a world champion at chess by the age of 14. And she ultimately became a grandmaster. That means she was the top of the top at 14 years old. Then his youngest daughter, Judith, right? By the age of 12, she was one of the top 100 players in the world. And shortly after that, for 27 years, she remained the #1 chess player in the world. It started off as a study. And guess how he did it? You ready for the crazy part? Let me get comfortable in my chair. You ready for the crazy part? Guess what he said he did? He put books about chess tournaments, books all over the house. He put pictures. Man, I could shout. He put pictures of all the great chess players all over his home. So every room they walked into as kids, they saw a chess player. Every room they walked into, they saw a book about chess. This is at the age of 4. I can't wait till Keegan turns 4. I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait till he turns 4, right? Because he said that he just put the pictures out. He just put the books out. And every single day, these kids, he took them out of public school and began to homeschool them because he really wanted to show that the mind is so powerful. And whatever you feed the mind on a repetitious basis, that's what's going to show up in your life. We talk about the power of environment so much, the power of information so much, the power of association so much. He took that and did it with his children. And the youngest, who could look up to see what Susan was doing and could look up and see what Sophia was doing, she became the #1 chess player for 27 years. And then she was quoted to say that in our world, obsession to the game was normal. I loved playing chess. I loved the game. It was like being obsessed with chess in their household was normal. One night, the dad is coming down the hallway. He opens the bathroom door, and one of his daughters is playing chess at 4 a.m. against herself, not playing against anybody. She's playing against herself. And the dad says, Sophia, you need to leave the chess pieces alone. She says, Dad, the chess pieces won't leave me alone. You need to leave the chess pieces alone. Dad, the chess pieces won't leave me alone. Because she was obsessed with the game. Why was she obsessed with the game? Because the game is all she saw. So what do you see? What do you see your future? Because as she's looking at these famous chess players around their home on pictures, what she's seeing is her future. So do you see your future? Right? And the power of sight, just learned this as well. The power of sight is so powerful. Did you know that there are 11 million receptors in your I guess what we call your nervous system, I guess, sensory system. 11 million receptors. I need you to follow me. 11 million. So, taste, touch, smell, hear, sight, all of those receptors total up to 11 million. Do you want to know what makes up 10 million of those receptors? Sight. Sight represents 10 million of the 11 million receptors that the human body has. Are you picking up what I'm putting down right now? 11 million total. 10 million of those are dedicated to what we see. So what we see is going to have a strong influence over what we do, backed by science, because 10 out of the 11 million receptors that we have in the human body are just dedicated to what we see. So my question is, what do you see? What do you see? What do you see? Like around your home, what do you see? When you close the eyes of your head and look out with the eyes of your heart, what do you see? See, sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart. So when you close your eyesight and turn on your vision, what do you see? Because for those young ladies, the only thing they saw was the game. And because they saw the game all the time, their body had to move into a way to respond to the thing that they kept seeing. And they fell so in love with the game that they could play the game in the bathroom as kids, playing against nobody, and ultimately become the youngest to win that 27 years, won it at 14 years old. So what do you see? And here's the beautiful thing about that. And here's why I think God is so cool and so strategic, right? This is so good because we're talking about chess. And I've mentioned before that, God doesn't play goldfish. He doesn't play checkers. He don't play tunk. He plays chess. He's very strategic in what he does. So it's very ironic that we're talking about chess tonight. So here's how God is strategic, because he gave us, I need you to really listen to me. He gave us 11 million receptors. I hope you're taking notes. 10 million of those receptors are dedicated to our sight. And then he says that If you want to live the good life, you will walk by faith and not by sight. So even though 10 of the 11 million of your receptors are dedicated to what you see, I still don't need you to live by that, because the influence of what you see is so strong that it'll determine what your whole body does. So I gave you 10 million, I gave you 11 million, but I'm telling you, 10 million is going to make up your life of these receptors. But I don't need you to live by that, because it's going to have the strongest pull on you. So because 10 million are dedicated to sight and vision, I don't need you to use the eyes of your head. I need you to use the eyes of your heart and walk by what you see with your eyes closed, not what you see with your eyes open, because reality is a lie. Damn, that was good. Reality is a lie. Sometimes I make myself chuckle. Reality is a lie. You see, even though the word reality says real in it, it's still a lie. It's still a lie because it doesn't tell you the truth. And so many people are living in bondage, being held by lies, because they just haven't identified what truth is. They just haven't fallen in love with what truth is. And truth is what you see around you, your vision, the things that you see with your eyes closed. That is the truth, not what you see in front of you, right? Because if you go by what you see in front of you, remember, 11 million of your receptors, that's all you got. 10 million of those are just dedicated to sight. So that means 1 million is dedicated to your smell. 500,000 dedicated to your feelings, like whatever. 10 million dedicated to just what you see, because what you see is going to determine what you do. That's so strong right there if you got that, because we're talking about a guy named Laszlo. Laszlo was his name. And he had 3 sisters called the Polgar sisters. And he said, I'm going to just run this experiment just to see how far we can take it. I'm going to just put the chest around them. I'm going to put the pictures around them as their kids. I'm going to take them out of public school and put them in, I'm going to just homeschool them. This is in like the 1700s. It's early 1800s, early time. That was a big year gap. I said 15 to 1800. I forgot the exact time. Go look it up for yourself, right? But he said, I'm going to take them out of school. I'm going to just put everything around them. And let's just see how far it can go. And they became some of the greatest chess players in history. But it started off as a study, because he really believed that successful people could be developed by just having the repetitious information. So again, what do you see? What are you willing to work for when you close your eyes and you open up the eyes of your heart? What do you see? What is it that you really want? Because it's possible for you. You just got to be willing to put in a word like you believe that, because that's what the people that fall in love with the game do, because they're dedicated. They're committed. Not to the end result, but to just the process of getting better than they were yesterday. So many people, again, look at the scoreboard. They see the scoreboard, and the scoreboard may not represent what they wanted to say. The scoreboard may show you that you're down, you haven't hit a rank yet, or whatever the case may be. And so if I live by the scoreboard, if I live by what I see, that's going to determine how I feel. That's going to determine what I do. So I can't live by the scoreboard. I got to live with the idea of just falling in love with the game. See, it's been 5 years for me in network marketing, and the scoreboard never affected me. I've only been in love with the game, the process of getting better, the traveling, the sacrificing, the commitment, the meeting new people, building new markets, establishing new teams, losing a team, having to rebuild a team, losing an organization, having to rebuild an organization. I fell in love with that. And see, most people are not willing to fall in love with that. They're not willing to fall in love with the process. They only want the promise. Not understanding that I can't even get the promise until I become processed. So I got to go through some stuff. I got to go through the stages before I can get on the stages. Most people are not willing to do that because they only focus on the scoreboard. They only focus on the result. They only focus on, man, when is it going to happen for me? Not understanding this, it's already happened. Your future is his past. It's already happened. It just hasn't happened physically for you yet, but it's already happened. That's what it means when we say it's already done, because he already did it. You just wait on time to catch up. And see, the greats, they recognize that. They recognize that. And that's the mentality that you got to have, man. These next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, man, you got to be willing to just do more than you've been doing. We got a lot of stuff about to happen. Like, we got skills camp starting tomorrow. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss a day of skills camp. You don't want, and when I'm announced on the final day of skills camp, you don't want to miss it. And you want to make sure that you take the time to go out there and invite, promote, get your squad on there. Because it's not about the information that you get. It's about the information that they get as well. You want them to have it. You don't want to be the person that have to go back and tell them, because by the time you tell them, some information has been lost through processing, through you talking about it. So you want to make sure that they're there. So make sure you take that time to say, listen, we got skills camp. Whatever you're doing, you got to be here. Because we got a lot of stuff about to happen. The rest of this year about to be real supernatural. It's about to be real Bamboo-esque, right? And you got to just make sure that you believe that. And you got to work like you believe that. You got to work like you can't fail. What if every single day you just work like you can't fail? Everybody you prospect like you can't fail. You show the plan like you can't fail. You travel like you just can't fail, like you don't know failure. Or better yet, you have a positive relationship with failure, not a negative relationship with failure. You recognize that failure is your friend, because failure is feedback. See, anytime you think you fail, it's just feedback, but you don't really fail until you quit. So if you can have a positive relationship with that idea, everything you want is done for you. But not many people can have that perspective, because so many people are so impatient. They want it today. Not understanding that it takes time, man. It takes time for stuff to happen. And the only people that don't recognize the value of time are people that are not professionals. See, we see great athletes today as who they are today in the league. What they've done over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years in the league. But what we didn't see is the dedication and commitment that they had before we even knew their name. Watch this. The real money is made before anybody starts talking about you. You want to write that down. The real money's made before people start talking about you. Before people know who you are, that's when the real money's made. When everybody's skeptical, that's when the real money's made. When everybody's saying it's not going to work, that's when the real money's made. When everybody's saying it's a scam, that's when the real money's made. When nobody's showing up, when nobody's buying, that's when the real money's made. I just like to think about Bitcoin, and just think about in 2009 when it first came out, and people saying it's not going to work, but you had the smart money that's buying it, just buying it. 2000 last year, COVID, Bitcoin goes to 3,500. Nobody's talking about it. It's going to crash. It sucks. But the smart money was buying it when nobody was talking about it, when nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. The smart money was buying. Why? Because real success happens before people start talking about it, before people know you. See, when a boxer gets into a ring, the fight was won before he got into the ring. The fight was won in preparation. When the team wins a championship, an NFL, NBA championship, the championship only exposes the work that you've been doing the whole time. See, it's the way that makes you, not the win. The win exposes you. The way makes you, the process makes you. But the win, getting your chairman jersey retired, ranking up, that just exposes that you've been in process. That exposes that you've been grinding, that you've been in the trenches. See, when your flyer drop, nobody gonna be surprised. When your chairman flyer drops, nobody's gonna be surprised. When you're platinum 5,000, nobody should be surprised when you rank up. They should be like, I saw that coming. He been grinding. Like, she been in the field. Nobody should be surprised. Like, no, No, have you noticed that no chairman just popped out with a chairman flyer? You saw it coming. You saw it come. Every chairman that been cracking, I can literally look at their. I'm like, bro, I seen, like, who ain't seen this coming? Like that it was only a matter of time. So nobody's gonna be surprised because it's gonna be evident in your work. 100 presentations, showing a plan, events. I challenge you to set up your first event if you haven't done an event yet. Get a leader to come to your market. Say, listen, I want to do a home event. I want to get an Airbnb. I want to get a space. I want to launch my business in person. I challenge you to do that. I double dog dare you to do that and watch what happens in your life because you decided to take a risk. I said take a risk. That ain't even no risk. You want to make 10,000 a month. What? Forgive me. I'm sorry. That's not a risk. That's what you got to do because you want to go pro. You want to make real money. So let's get the word. So I implore you to make sure that you're tuned into tomorrow. The skills camp is going to be OD. It's going to be wild. The announcement I'm going to drop is going to be even more crazy on the final day. So let's have an amazing week. I'm excited for this week. As you continuously see all the chairman crack, all the rank ups in our organization. Shout out to all the new P1s. Then we got some P2s about to crack. All the P2s that crack, they're going to be in Houston with us with David. That's going to be crazy. Right? So in Houston, April 9th and 10th, we got David in Houston. So, and watch this. Even if you don't go P2, you still got a chance to be there. All you got to do is sponsor some people, right? You sponsor 6 people, your name goes into a hat. Boom. And we're going to do a drawing. Whoever names we pull, they just going to be the ones because they put in the work. So what that means, you can be a platinum 150 hanging around somebody that made 40 million. David he's made $40 million this far. That's wild. You get to hang around that. So make sure you take it seriously. We got 18 days left until Houston. Run the play, the week after, April 16th through the 18th. Go to Justin Owens' bio on Instagram and get your tickets. Run the play. I think it's runtheplay.events. Get your tickets to that. And then May, we turning up again. And listen, let's have a good week, guys. I'll see y'all at the bank. Good night. God bless.